What's up, everybody? Thanks for watching today, baby. Hope you guys are all doing great out there. As you guys probably have seen by now, we are going to have a guest come on and talk about his addiction and also his experience with Suboxone and Sublicade. So let's see here. Give me 2 seconds, guys. Sorry, of course, we do that again, just like we do every week. Kev, hang tight just a minute, buddy, and I'll bring you on in just a moment. All right, let me make sure I get all set up, guys. Hey, Deb, how are you? You guys drop some comments as you come in here. Let's see here. Oh, I see Drained Eyes. What's up, man? I'm glad to see you. I'm glad to see you in here, buddy. Before we get started with today's show, just remember, guys, that I am not a doctor. Neither is my guest that's coming on today. Nothing on my channel is medical advice, so please speak to your addiction doctor if you have addiction issues, okay, guys? Don't take medical advice from the internet, as Dr. Chris Park always says. All right, let's see here. So, also before we get started, guys, I'm sure some of you may have seen that we are now changing our live schedule to this time every Wednesday. So we scooted it up an hour earlier. That way I don't have to worry about rushing to get off at 5 o'clock my time. Also, I'm going to be uploading a video every Monday at this time and every Friday at this time. And I'll also be putting little short videos here and there just throughout the week and maybe the weekend as well. So just a heads up to you guys. One more thing. Okay. All right. So also I wanted to send a quick shout out to the sponsors of last week's live stream, and that was Deb, Marky Rizzo, and Callie Love. I want to thank all three of you for donating via Super Chat, and that really helps me get some egg white fun and keep coming back on here every Wednesday to chat with you lovely folks. So I see there's a few people that are now in the chat, so I'm going to go ahead and bring our guest on. His name is also Kevin, so make sure you guys are kind to him as you guys always are. Deb, I see you're in there. If we get any trolls, go ahead and take care of them. All right, give me just a second, guys. Are you ready for me, Kev? Okay. Give me 2 seconds while I turn on my little Bluetooth headset, buddy, because I can't hear you yet. My iPhone that I'm recording this on, speaker's blown. All right, can you hear me?
I can hear you, Kevin.
Okay, there we go. Hopefully, if everybody can hear us fine, please drop a comment real quick to let us know. How are you doing today, man?
Life is good. Life is good. As I told you a little earlier, I'm actually on vacation in Aruba, and today's the last day. So, yeah, just happy to talk about this. I'm really passionate about my Suboxone and Sublicade journey. So yeah, when asked to share, absolutely. And what's interesting, and it's funny how the world works sometimes. I came across your YouTube channel last night, and I had heard you talking, and I normally try to fall asleep listening to some recovery stuff. Mm-hmm. And I came across one of your videos, and I commented on it, and then it's just weird how things work out. You reached out today or put something on Reddit, and I'm very active on Reddit and Facebook and the Suboxone and Sublicade communities. It's just funny how things work out sometimes. So I want to thank you for your your dedication to recovery, because just from scanning on YouTube over the last few hours, you're really committed to this, and that's a wonderful thing. So kudos to you, Kevin.
Thank you very much, and that's very awesome how we all kind of somehow find each other. Like I've been asking people, on my streams and like posting comments, trying to get somebody with Sublicade experience, but it doesn't seem like there's a lot of people, first of all, that are willing to come on and show their face like you are right now. So thank you for doing that. But also people, I mean, I had like 3 or 4 people just from my post last night recommend you so you must be very passionate, obviously, like you said,
about Sublicade and stuff like that. So I appreciate you taking the time while you're on your vacation
Yeah.
to come on here and chat with us.
Yeah, it's funny how life works because this is my 10th year in Aruba. And 2 years ago at this time, I came on this trip for 2 weeks with the intent to try and just go cold turkey taper off 1 milligram of Suboxone. And it was a tough trip. It was unsuccessful. And it was at that point in time I started researching like other ways to try and get off Suboxone. And it was shortly thereafter this trip, I had heard about Sublicade on Reddit.
Mm-hmm.
It was interesting, you opened the show, Kevin, saying consult your medical doctor, don't read off the internet, but
Mm-hmm.
my journey, I found out about Sublicade on Reddit. I created an account. I created an account. I was given a name that does not really define my demeanor,
Mm-hmm.
or it didn't at the time, and most people would not describe me just in general as calm or peaceful, and I'll leave it at that. But Reddit was interesting to me because of its anonymity. I'm all about anonymity, but nobody that watches this video, I thought about it when you asked me, and my first reaction was, yes, I want to do this. I want to, get my message out because I'm all about sharing the message of hope. But then I thought to myself, oh boy, I got to deal with the comments. We talked about this a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
and the fear set in. But anybody that watches this video that knows me knows I'm an addict. They know I'm an alcoholic. They know my story because they know me. I'm very transparent in my recovery. And this journey has touched me in a way, particularly the Sublicade journey, but we'll talk about Suboxone, has touched me in a way where I just feel like I have a calling to share it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love how passionate you are about this. And I also love, like, you seem to be very educated. You've obviously done your homework on Sublicade and Suboxone. And on top of that, you have plenty of experience dealing with all the stuff we're about to talk about today. So before we kind of deep dive into your past, where is it that you said you're at? I don't know what state. Is that in Florida? I don't know where that is.
I'm in Aruba. I'm on a tropical vacation right now. I'm down by Venezuela. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Yeah. When you said that, I was like, I'd never heard of that, so I didn't know what you meant by that.
Yeah, no, I am in Aruba. This is the other side of my Sublicade journey from 2 years ago.
Oh, damn.
My first 8 years here, I was doing a lot of sleeping because I was in a Suboxone fog because I would nap all the time, be tired all the time. And I'm sure we'll get to that, but
yeah.
I can see it clear now.
Okay, good. That's awesome, man. Okay, so if you can, take me back to maybe the start of your addiction. Where did it start for you? And like, how deep did you get into what drugs? How long were you into those type of drugs? Just feel free to say whatever you want about kind of where you came from, maybe what started your addiction.
I'll say that in a very general way. Okay. I grew up in a very good family. My father was a police officer. I have a brother, a sister. Grew up in New York. The first time I experienced alcohol, I got drunk. I was 13 or 14, hanging out with older guys, wanted to be accepted, and I just liked the way that feeling felt. And I've been chasing it my entire life. I mean, my story, I'm pretty well versed in regards with alcohol, drugs, gambling, just anything. I don't do anything in moderation. I was initially introduced into a 12-step recovery program back in 2000. I was about 30 years old. And or I was 28 at the time. And I went to a few meetings and I didn't hear anything that I could relate to. And I walked out and I ended up my first inpatient rehab, 2004. At the time, it was alcohol and cocaine. And my life was a wreck. And I thought, you know what, I'm done, and that was not the case because I got out of treatment. And within a year, that's when I was introduced to opiates.
Okay.
Around 2005.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you went straight from that right to opiates, or did you continue to use them together?
No. Because it was no longer acceptable once I went to treatment in 2004, I had 2 children. I had a professional job. It was a work intervention. I'm grateful today that my company allowed me to get rehab. But once I got out, the eyes were on me because I was in a managerial position. So it was quite a humbling experience to have to go to rehab. And then, I was living a lie because, I did not want to, I was not ready. That's just plain and simple. I was not ready. And I quickly developed an opiate addiction, Oxycontin, all that stuff. And, that went on for about 2 years. And it was, waking up at 4 a.m., chewing on pills, going back to sleep. I'm sure everybody, not everybody, but I did not make the transition to street drugs. So at the time I was telling myself I'm not that bad. But it was not unusual, 100, 200 milligrams of Oxycontin or oxycodone a day. I was more worried about my liver from the codone than I was about, because it all had acetaminophen in it, than I was about overdosing because my tolerance was really high. So I heard about Suboxone from a friend. And at the time, trying to find a Suboxone doctor in 2007 was not easy because I believe, at least I live in the United States, in the state of Maryland. At the time, it was still a relatively new drug, and doctors could only carry a caseload of maybe 30 or 40 patients, whatever it was. Miraculously, I got in, and on July 10th, 2007, I took my first dose of Suboxone, and I thought I struck gold. I was so happy, because I got my life stabilized,
Did you say July 1st?
July 7th, 2007.
Oh, 7th. That's awesome that you remember the date.
Oh yeah, it's all very clear to me. Because it was a game changer for me. Suboxone was a game changer for me. And I remember at the time, being told, we're just going to take it. I went to the doctor every few weeks to start, and my life stabilized, and it took away the cravings, and it did what it was, supposed to do. During that period of time, I stayed away from other drugs and alcohol, and life stabilized. I took Suboxone as prescribed, and 16 milligrams a day, 8 milligrams in the morning, 8 milligrams at night. And the benefits of not having that rat race of addiction and having Suboxone, I mean, you couldn't outweigh them. I was tired, and a lot of the other side effects that come along, I experienced right away. The constipation, the ED, my testosterone dropped. I mean, significant changes, but those changes outweighed the cycle, of addiction. So I wasn't planning on being on it for 13 and a half years, Kevin, but that's just how it played out, Okay. Now, during that period of time, I wish I could tell you that, I was clean from all drugs and alcohol, but that's not my story. You know, I struggled with other substances while I was on Suboxone,
Okay.
and eventually got to the point where, an extra Suboxone would maybe give you a little bit more energy. So I played
Mm-hmm.
that game for a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Total transparency. I did not take Suboxone as prescribed for 13 and a half years.
Okay.
You know, the first 8 years, I was pretty much steady on 16 milligrams. And, you know, if I took more some days, I'd take less some days. I filled early. You know, I knew the system. I'm an addict. You know, I knew I knew if I had refills, I could get them filled on the 22nd day. I played the game because
Yeah.
I even though it was keeping stability in my life, if I could get a little bit of an edge, I was looking for it.
Mm-hmm.
That's the best way to describe it.
So backing up a little bit, let's say, okay, so when you first started your painkiller or oxy addiction, how many years? And did you start off at like really high doses, or did you just keep tapering up as far as
No,
raising your doses?
no, it
How
was
many
crazy.
years?
I had a friend that I used to run with that I worked with that wound up getting in a really bad car accident, and he had like uh, unlimited opiates, and that's how it
Mm-hmm.
started. You know, it started at maybe one pill a few times a day of
Mm-hmm.
oxycodone. You know, all the different pills, all the different off-label numbers. I used to know all the numbers, which was sick at the time. I used to take pride in
Mm-hmm.
that. You know, um, and I don't know. Within 6 months, it was probably up to 75. I mean, it happened quick. And let me tell you, once we had once his stash wasn't enough for both of us, we had to hit the streets to hit the pill ladies. And because at that time, it's when people were getting Oxycontin prescriptions for, 80 milligram pills a month. It wasn't unusual. And they would get
Yeah.
refills every month. But it happened pretty quick, and it was a very, very expensive habit.
Mm-hmm.
And not only was I supporting my habit, but the friend, he had all the connections. So it was just, it was addiction
Mm-hmm.
at its finest.
I know for me, my situation was a little bit different. It was weird. Like I could kind of maintain my addiction for many years. I would say for like the first 3, 4, 5 years, I would just take like a Loratab 10 every Friday at work just to like reward myself for like I hated my job. So that was my way of like getting through the day happily because I hated my job. It was my reward for working all week. But then it started becoming every Monday and Friday, and then it was every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and that's when like I started having alarm bells going off in my head, and I was like, all right, this kind of feels like I might be heading down a really dark road. And little did I know it, but at that point I was already so far into it, but I didn't recognize it for a while. It took me a few years to actually think, holy crap, I'm actually addicted to this stuff. So it started when it started going up, man, it started going up high, and I got up to pretty similar doses to you. I was up to around 150, 200 milligrams a day, and I was buying these things, and you know how expensive that stuff. I was spending about $3,000 a month on painkillers, and my mortgage at the time, I had a huge, beautiful, brand new house. I mean, 3,200 square foot all to myself. That house payment was only $1,200 at the time. So I'm spending almost 3 times as much on my habit as I was on my beautiful luxury home. Like, how crazy is that? I don't know if you can relate to that at all, but
I can, I can relate to that, and the insanity of how much the pill addiction can be. I had a gambling addiction at the same time, and I was in a position professionally where I was very fortunate to work for a company that, in spite of me going to rehab and in spite of me still using opiates on a daily basis, um, I was, I guess, able to somewhat function and get to that point where I was able to transition from the opiates to Suboxone, because it was out of control, and it was tough to maintain that habit just every day. It was a grind. but I'm grateful for Suboxone, and I'm grateful for that doctor that, that got me on it. Because at the time it slowed down a very fast trajectory of addiction.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I often do talk a lot about like the half-life of medication, and Suboxone is a much slower half-life, and I think that that's really what allows people to slow things down, because with opiates, you're up and down all day. Your emotions are being dragged up and down because of the half-life is so fast, right? And with
Yeah.
Suboxone's longer half-life, it can slow that down for you and really, but still give you some people still get some type of high, and some people describe it as a high, some people describe it as an energy, some people get anxiety treatment for it. Like it's kind of different for everybody that I talk to. What was your experience? Did you get high off of Suboxone at first? Did that last for a while or no?
No, I don't think I got high. I felt well. I felt much better than not, being in opiate withdrawal. I guess, it did give me energy, but I guess, I, I, I took it as prescribed early on because I didn't know that taking more could possibly give me a little euphoria.
Mm-hmm.
I took it as prescribed. I guess when I tried to cut the dose down is when I realized that if I took more, I would maybe get a little euphoria or a
Okay.
little bit more energy if I needed it.
Okay. I gotcha. Okay, so how many years just roughly would you say your opiate addiction lasted before you found Suboxone?
2 years.
2 years. Okay. See, I was like 15 years, so I was a
Yeah.
long time. And as soon as I found Suboxone, I knew that was my way. I was like, wait, I don't have to be sick. It doesn't feel like the world's about to end, because I mean, there must have been 10 times that I withdrew from painkillers and didn't even know it. I didn't know that was even a thing for many years. I would
Oh,
wake
I
up
knew
and
it. I
did you?
knew I was in dangerous territory because prior to that, I had been in, rehab with people that were detoxing, and I was fear, which is one of the reasons why I never stopped. I remember prior to being administered the Suboxone by a doctor on July 10th, 2007. About 6 months
Mm-hmm.
prior, I had went to like a walk-in clinic, for a week straight, and they dosed me with Suboxone for a week, which stopped the opiate addiction at the time. But as soon as
Mm-hmm.
that week was up, within a few days, I was in, withdrawal. I think they gave me 8 milligrams a day. I used to have to go. They'd watch me take the dose. That I tried that. That didn't work. A longer regimen of Suboxone was what was good for me.
Okay. And then how many years would you say where you were on Suboxone? It sounds like you probably know pretty specifically.
4,928 days.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
That's
I
crazy. You
told you.
know that down to
Yeah.
the days.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
thought I was
Yeah.
OCD.
Well, I'm OCD with this topic because I
I
don't
love
do
that.
anything at half speed. You know what I mean? So
Okay.
I have found a strength in being able to talk to other people about this, share my experience, which is my experience, whether people agree with it or not, and in turn, it helps me. And I don't mean to sound that selfishly, but in some sense, that's how this deal works for me.
Mm-hmm.
Which is why I always encourage people to share their story. Get the word out. That Suboxone can really, if somebody's considering making the transition to Suboxone, I highly recommend it, because it really can help.
So is it safe to say that Suboxone had saved your life, quite literally?
Definitely. I say that all the time. Suboxone saves lives. I mean, it's
Yeah.
I really believe that. I think it could. I mean, Suboxone could also cause other problems. That's a fact too.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there are a lot of side effects,
Yep.
but you gotta sort of weigh all of them. and I'm grateful for Suboxone. I think sometimes people, because I'm so pro Sublicade, people may think that I am not appreciative of Suboxone. It's quite the opposite.
Dude, like how you said that last sentence right there, that's exactly how I want everybody watching this video to remember that Suboxone saved my life. It saved his life. As you guys all know from watching my channel over the years, it seems like there's a really great like time of that Suboxone works so well for everybody. It seems like to me it's somewhere between like 6 to 12 months maybe, and then it starts to kind of the cons start to outweigh the pros a little bit after that. Is that kind of what you experienced as well?
Yeah. I mean, if somebody reached out to me today who said, hey, I'm 6 months on Suboxone or 12 months on Suboxone, I would recommend to them to consider weaning off Suboxone, which is very difficult. We can talk about that. Or considering Sublicade as a taper option. I am a big proponent of that because of my personal experiences, multiple, of trying to taper off Suboxone below 2 milligrams. I was able to go from 16 to 8 multiple times very easily, 8 to 2 milligrams over a period of a month or 2 months. Once you get down to 2 milligrams, my experience, and I will admit, I read now that people cut a 2 milligram or they spread it out to 16 doses and drop by 0.125 or 0.1, whatever it is. I did not do that. I would cut them. I think I tried to go 0.25 or 0.5. That was my experience, but I just was never successful. The last 5-6 years on Suboxone, I was a yo-yo of up and down. I'm just going to be on it forever, and that's okay. And I'll just, I'll deal with this and, get medication for some of the other issues I was having, because it gets to a point where, if, I'm 50, I mean, I don't need any help with my testosterone. And this is around the time where testosterone starts dropping. And just to give you an idea, it looks like you take pretty good care of yourself. I mean, my testosterone was in the hundreds.
Wow. Very low.
170, 180, 189. I'm above 500 now. And
you don't need TRT?
No TRT.
Wow. That's incredible, man.
It. I'm above 500 right now.
Yeah, you're good. That's awesome.
For guys that know a lot about this, like you understand that's important. I mean, that's really important for just function, for desire. I mean, it just ripped, it ripped that from me, but you have to weigh the pros and the cons, which is why I think 6 to 12 months, if you're watching right now, if you're watching and we talked about this earlier, Kevin, and you think you need to be on Suboxone for the rest of your life, it is your choice. That's whatever. If you want to transition to Sublicade and get monthly shots because you don't want a dose, God bless you. But for me, when I found out that there was an alternative to, dosing below 2 milligrams, I was very interested. And I found out about it 2 years ago when I was here. And by December of 2020, I spoke with my doctor. He had heard about it. He had not heard about the taper, because the first thing I heard was there was a taper of 300, 300, 100. Okay. That's what I heard. And I thought, man, could this be possible? And it took me about 6 weeks of, I would message people on Reddit, who were talking about it. And these people, I wish I knew who they were today. But I don't, and they helped me out. And I went to my doctor. He said, I've got a few other patients that have gotten the injections, and, he knew the protocol. And he said, your dose should probably be around 8 milligrams, and we'll start you on 300 and 300, and then we'll move you down to 100, and we'll see how you feel. But I told him from the get-go, I want to do 300, 300, 100, or 300, 300. I knew from the get-go that I wanted to test out this taper. That was something that I knew from the get-go that I wanted to do, and I was going to give it a shot.
So going back to real quick, what you said, 4,000 something days. So what did you say? That was like 12 years you were on Suboxone?
13 and a half.
13 and a half years. So let me ask you a few questions. See, because I know you kind of touched on the side effects. I want to see if you experience it. Like some of the stuff that you're saying, it sounds like it's me saying them. So I'm sure some of my people watching this is like, Kevin's touched on this many times, and it's just crazy how similar our stories are. So
yeah,
constipation. Constipation.
Yeah, I'll get specific.
Okay.
And I'm going to go out because my parents just walked in, and they don't need to know this. That's a gift too. Is I get to do this with my parents, and they get to see me clean and sober, which is beautiful because they've seen me sleep a lot through this vacation. So
that's good.
So the side effects, the number one side effect would be just I was emotionless. I couldn't get high. I couldn't get low. I didn't cry. I wasn't happy. I was just blah. Okay.
Yep.
I also, for some reason, my receptors, I always craved my first dose of the day. I slept with it on my nightstand. I hear a lot of people talk about that. I don't know if that's addict behavior, but my first dose, I always took it as soon as I opened my eyes. The constipation was out of control for 13 years. Even when I got at lower doses, suppositories, enemas, all that I had to deal with. The sexual stuff, sometimes I needed a prescription to have to perform. And my testosterone just killed my sex drive. That's the best way to say it. Some people don't struggle with that. I did. I did significantly, and it was a game changer once the Sublicade started wearing off. Like I felt like a different person. I don't have constipation anymore. I don't have any of those side effects. I participate in life. I don't sleep for 3 or 4 hours in the beach in Aruba. I don't fall asleep on car rides. I'm present. And I cried. I have laughs where, I just feel like my personality's back, and other people noticed it before I did.
That's awesome.
The personality stuff, the emotions, other people saw those changes in me before I saw them in myself.
I gotcha. And I've heard other people mention similar things like that as well. So that's awesome when other people are noticing a difference in your personality. It's a huge difference. So let's jump now. Is there any other side effects that you had? Did you have teeth issues? A lot of people I've talked to have like rotted teeth, have lost a lot of teeth. Did you have any issues like that with your long history?
Yeah. I go to the dentist regularly every 6 months, and I feel like I have some wear on my enamel by the gums. And I've mentioned it and shared information with my dentist about this. And he's not quite convinced that the minimal damage it's more of an issue. So I know that there's a lot of talk on that right now, but I try to take good care of my teeth even through addiction. My teeth aren't perfect. They're not straight, but I don't really have the decay problems like some people report.
Okay. Awesome. Just real quick, it looks like we have about 17 people in here watching right now. So guys, make sure that you hit the thumbs up button for us if you enjoy this content. Also, it looks like a couple people just sent a super chat. So I'm going to touch on that really quick. Rachel just said, top. What does that say? She just said thumbs up. Thank you, Rachel, for the $2.99 super chat. Mikey also just sent a super chat of $3.65 and says awesome video. Thank you both for supporting this show. I really appreciate you guys showing us some love and showing us some super chat love for the Egg White Fund. Also, I wanted to say, if you guys have any questions for Kevin, I don't want to keep him on here for 10 hours. I know he's on vacation on his last day, so please fire off some questions if you have any for Kevin right now. I'm still going to pick his brain for a little bit more. I would like to move now, Kevin, if we could, to Sublicade, if you wanted to talk about that. Is there anything else you wanted to talk about with Suboxone while we're still on the topic before we move to Sublicade?
No, I think we covered it pretty good.
Okay. So you had mentioned a little bit earlier that you had kind of went up and down for like the last 5 years of your Suboxone use, if I recall. You got sick of trying to taper yourself off. Did you ever successfully come off without Sublicade, as far as like staying off of it for a prolonged amount of time, or was the withdrawal just too hard?
It was too hard. I tried. I had some of the comfort meds from the doctor. I had trazodone, clonidine, stuff for my stomach. And it was just, the restless leg, the depression, the anxiety was debilitating.
Okay.
That's the best way to describe it. And it wasn't like it was just, I was really never able, I guess maybe there might have been a few days where I didn't dose. I say I dosed for 928 days, but I don't ever remember being able not to take it because it was tough. And it's not like I tried to rush it. I tried to go slow and drop 0.25, but it was too much for me emotionally and physically. I give people a lot of credit that are able to do it, but I was not successful, and I don't beat myself up about it, because now being in this community and just being very actively involved with Suboxone and Sublicade and talking to a lot of people, I know I'm not alone. I know a lot of people have the same struggle, which when you asked me to do this today, if one person hears this story and is able to successfully, make a transition, if that's what they want to do, that's it. That's how I feel about this, because if I could share my experience and get that one person that might have been feeling like I was to the other side of this, man, it's beautiful. That's and that's what you're doing here as well by putting these together. It's just one human being helping another.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm sure I've heard that you help a lot of people on Reddit as well. So if somebody's watching this and you're curious about Sublicade, go check out the Reddit forums, the Sublicade section on Reddit. There are some incredible stories on there. And that's definitely, after I searched YouTube for quite a while for Sublicade stories, and I would find like one or two videos here and there, and then they would never like really go on from there and share what happened after that. But if you go on Reddit, you can see, people update and they make updates on there. So I wanted to be one of those channels that actually gave very in-depth detail on how my transition from Suboxone to Sublicade went. So I'm seeing that there are a lot of people in my comment section that are now, since I've been kind of telling them how it's been for me, a lot of people are now trying the Sublicade, and for me, it's been a godsend. I don't know if you even know that I'm even on Sublicade, but I just had my second shot 2 weeks ago. My doctor had me come up on my Suboxone dose.
Ditto.
Because I didn't want to. Yeah. Oh, yours did too. Okay.
Yep.
So he was trying to get me to start off at the 300, and I know that a lot of doctors that aren't super familiar with it probably aren't going to be willing to adjust the dose, but I pleaded my case. I said, hey, if I get that 300 shot, I'm going to be so constipated. my testosterone's gonna crash to the floor. It's gonna be too strong for me. Because at the time I was at 1 milligram of Suboxone. So basically we negotiated. He's like, let's bring your Suboxone up to 4 milligrams. That was easy for me to do. It's easy to go up on your Suboxone dose. And then he'll give me 150 milligrams, which is just half of the 300 milligram shot. So that's what I did for the first shot. And then my second shot, I had him bring me down to just 100 milligrams. And I've been feeling, I always tell people on my channel how like the number one difference for me between how I feel now versus when I was on Suboxone is I feel totally normal. Like there's plenty of days I don't
It's
even,
the
it's
steady
like,
stream of youth, man. I say
yes,
it all the time. It's the receptors are affected differently. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a scientist, but I have spoken with a lot of people. I've
hmm
experienced this, and I really believe for the receptors, some people. First off, Kevin, this is funny. I increased to 4 milligrams as well.
oh,
But at the time, 2 years ago, I was so intent on 300, 300, 100,
uh-huh,
because there was the Sublicade forums 2 years ago at this time were not as strong as they are now. And I believe
yeah,
they're in its infancy. Same with Suboxone, but
hmm
there's a lot of people on Suboxone right now, that's
a
the
lot.
reality. I mean,
Yep.
is that going to increase, or is that going to go down with the fentanyl and with what's going on with fentanyl right now? So I feel like,
hmm
this is going to be recovery is going to be a big topic in the future. Recovery or death.
Yeah.
That's where fentanyl is leading. So, I increased, and like you, I will tell you, a lot of people you hear with Suboxone, less is more.
hmm
People felt better on 4 milligrams or 2 milligrams than they did on
hmm
16. I did.
Yes.
I still had some side effects, but they were
hmm
less. But so yeah, I set my shot. I set my appointment on January 21st, 2021. I woke up in the morning. I took 4 milligrams of Suboxone, and I haven't had Suboxone since.
That's
I got my
amazing,
first three.
man.
I got my first 300 milligram shot that day. I went back February 26, 21, got a 300 milligram shot. And then my last shot was March 26th. My doctor ordered a fourth shot. And then when I went back, I said, I don't want it. And he said, I support you. He said, but
hmm
if you struggle, I didn't have any Suboxone at the time. He said,
hmm
you've done this for 3 months. If you struggle, call me. And I went to see him every month. And, at the time, I really didn't know. I was thinking it was going to be maybe 9 months, 12 months, because the data wasn't out really 2 years ago of how long
hmm
the Sublicade was going to stay in your system. But there were people that had 6 months, 8 months, some up to a year that were still
hmm
testing positive.
hmm
So my last shot, and I used the term or the acronym LSD, which is appropriate. Last shot date for me was 3/26/21,
Okay.
and I was positive for buprenorphine for 15 plus months.
That's
I
amazing.
tested
That's
I tested clean for buprenorphine on September 13th of this year. I could have been
okay.
clean before that, but it's just when I had my doctor's appointment. So, Sublicade gave me a long, gradual, steady taper.
So, okay. So did you, how do I say this? So basically what I tell people is just like, it's hard to believe that it could be such a different experience. And I always go back to the half-life comparing Suboxone. If you look at the half-life charts, the blood levels, you're like this every day. You're up and down with the dose that you take, right? And then when you're on Sublicade, it's just a smooth selling. Like if somebody told me that if I didn't know I had this injection in my stomach, I would not even know that I was on Sublicade. I don't ever even feel it. So is that how it was for you too?
Yes. Yeah. I mean, it was like that from the first. I mean, my first 300 milligram shots. When I got those shots, I did feel a little euphoria because I was on 4 milligrams. I did feel a little euphoria for 24 to 48 hours. And I think other people experience that initial shock, maybe shock to the system, where they feel like they have to supplement. Maybe it's too much buprenorphine. Maybe it's not enough. They don't like the way they feel. All I knew was I was going to do my best to not take a Suboxone strip because I gave them to my doctor the day I got my first shot. And I just said, listen, I want to try and do this without taking strips. But I totally, there's a lot of people that have had success that have maybe had to take, you know, some supplemental strips that first week or that first month, because everybody is different. You know, there's so many factors with this medication, but there is a lot of data, people reporting that they're still positive 6 months, 8 months, 9 months, a year, 15 months after their shot, which is just scientific proof that the buprenorphine stays in your system for an extended period of time. So for somebody that's maybe trying to get off Suboxone, who might feel miserable for a month to 3 months, you slow down that taper for 4 times that amount, maybe 5 times that amount, and it's magic. You know, but there are, and we talked about this earlier, I do want to mention this, you know, there's other things that it wasn't just for me, just getting 3 Sublicade shots. We talked about this earlier. I'm involved in a 12-step recovery. I believe, you know, I'm a bigger guy. I tried to eat a little bit healthier, lose some weight, eat less carbs. I tried to take care, when I made this commitment to Sublicade, my physical well-being, okay, a little bit better, eat a little bit cleaner, my emotional, well-being. And that was really trying to share my experience. Like, I weighed on that heavily. Like, I went to Reddit and posted a lot because that was just affirmation that it was working for me. It was selfish, but it was also trying to get the gift out to other people because my experience was very positive. And then the spirituality, and I'm not going to get into this, but, you know, I work a 12-step program, and that has been a big part of my recovery. I do not want to diminish that. I think that, you know, what helped this progress was I had people around me that knew I was going through it and supported me. But I did deal with the stigma in the 12-step rooms of being on Suboxone. That might be a conversation for another time because I want to keep this positive. But I tell you what, you know, it's that's my story, you know.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. I'm glad that, see, I don't have any experience with doing any steps. I don't know, something about, I've heard a lot of people say that they're like against you if you're on Suboxone, or I don't know if I'm sure they would feel the same way about if you're on Sublicade. Like you said, you got some stigma there for that. Is that what you experienced while you were on Sublicade as well?
When I got Sublicade, those people that had, nobody really, I mean, it got to the point where, you know, people that were very, very close to me, you know, told me that, you know, I shouldn't be celebrating anniversaries, even though I was clean, no illegal drugs, no alcohol. I did buy into that, Kevin. But that was my choice. Okay. It is not for me to judge. Okay. Anybody that is in the rooms of a 12-step program that is on Suboxone or Sublicade, if they're clean or if they're not. I, at the time, wanted to get off and I couldn't. And that was really a sticking point for me. My decision was my decision to stop celebrating anniversaries. Plus, quite honestly, I had other relapses in there. So it was like, you know, it's a long story. But yeah, I dealt with the stigma of being on Suboxone. But once I got on Sublicade, I was trying to get that word out, because in 12-step meetings, it's a mix of sometimes alcoholics and addicts, especially in today's world. You know, so I was able to use that to my advantage and say, hey, if you know anybody that's struggling with this, you know, please give them my number. So along with Reddit and Facebook and the rooms, it's been a gift to be able to share.
Yeah, yeah, it's awesome, man. I just wanted to go, and sorry if you see me looking down, it's because I'm looking at the comments on this phone. So if you don't mind, I've got a few comments I've seen people ask if I could kind of bring them up with you and see what you say. Let's see. Last Chance had asked, he said, I've come a long way from lots and lots of pills to Kratom. Now I can't get off the Kratom. Will Sublocade help? What's your opinion on that?
I have no idea. I have never taken Kratom. I know it's a big
Okay.
thing. They sell it in the vape shops. I'm in recovery. I couldn't tell you about it. I did see that you have a video on that, but I have no experience on that. And to be honest with you, that's not something I pay that much attention to when I'm on social media, because I have no experience with it. I have experience with opiates, Suboxone, and Sublicade.
Okay,
And
gotcha.
other chemicals, but I mean, not Kratom. That's not one of them.
Okay. Another question I just seen somebody say, where did it go? Let's see. It's Keegan said, I stopped Sublocade nearly a year ago and felt good. No issues with normal functions. And then somebody else had asked, okay, right here. So P. Miller asks, did he have any withdrawal symptoms at all coming off of Sublocade?
My last shot was March 26, 21. And the middle of August that year, I had a headache for a few days, and my body felt tight. It wasn't anxiety, but I felt a little stressed. I felt a little uneasiness. So my wife and I were going out to dinner, and there was a wait. So I went over to a CVS and I took my blood pressure, and it was elevated. So I set up an appointment with my doctor, and he had me take my blood pressure for 2 weeks straight. And I was running like maybe 140 over 100. It was pre-hypertension. And he said, you know, it could be from, you know, the drop of buprenorphine in your system. You're at about 6 months. It could be your body adjusting. You know, he said, but I'm not quite convinced. He didn't really think it was it. He's like, you need to lose 20 or 30 pounds. You know, he was more concerned about, you know, my weight and, you know, just then he thought it was, you know, Sublicade. But you know, I told you before, those comfort meds I had, and I think, you know, for Suboxone, I still had trazodone and clonidine or whatever it is, and I never had to take any of that on Sublicade. I mean, it was a breeze. He did put me on blood pressure medication, a low dose, and within 2 hours, the headache went away, and my blood pressure has been normal since. You know, and that's something when I go next month, I'm going to talk to him about coming off now that I'm clean from buprenorphine. But no restless legs, no anxiety, no panic attacks. People talk about sweating. I'm sweating right now, and it's 68 degrees in here. I just sweat a lot, you know? So yeah, I dealt with some of that, you know, on Suboxone, but I didn't lose any sleep. You know, I did not experience withdrawal. I experienced emotions about 8 or 9 months, but you know, and that, let me tell you, you gotta be ready for that, you know, because we're not, I mean, there is, I think, something to be said for, you know, buprenorphine, you know, keeping you safe, you know, from opiates and keeping the cravings away. But it does, you know, it does have an impact on, I think, our emotions and our energy level. At least I believe that. You know, so Yeah, I did not have withdrawal, and I don't want to start ripping off Reddit names, but I could name a lot of people that are also in the same boat. And 300, 300, 100 is that's just, I don't even think that's a thing anymore, because we're seeing a lot of people do 1 shot, 2 shots. We're starting to see, Kevin, that less is more with Sublicade as well, because
Okay.
I'm starting to see that data. There's Cut Sensitive on, I'm going to quote him. He's on Reddit. Follow that guy. He did 1 shot. He was on a low dose, 2 milligrams.
Mm-hmm.
He's over 90 days past his last shot, and he did 1 single 100 milligram shot, and he's withdrawal free. There's so many great sources out there, and we did talk about this a little bit earlier. I feel that in some sense we have a responsibility to help each other here, to get the word out that if you are looking to get off Suboxone, Sublicade is a legitimate option, and it should be communicated. Where I think that we're at that point where, especially, I mean, it's just it should be communicated, and guys like you who are giving back and giving me a forum to get my story out, and other people, we owe it to each other. If there's people out there trying to get off Suboxone, this message should be shared. I believe it should be shared.
Yes.
I used to, on Facebook get Sublocade ads, because the algorithm, I mean, you're on YouTube, what's on your feed. There used to be Sublocade ads that used to come across, and I would pay attention for them. As much as I talk about Sublicade in my comments, Reddit, it's interesting that I never get Sublicade. Advertisements. I get a ton of Suboxone advertisements on Facebook and when I'm on Google or anything like that, but I'm not getting Sublicade, and I talk about it nonstop.
Wow, that's crazy. I'm gonna have to pay attention for that now. I'm curious if I'm gonna start seeing Sublicade. I've always seen Suboxone ads for sure. I just wanted to say real quick, it looks like we got another super chat from, you might know this name. Does this sound familiar to you? Drained Eyes. Have you seen him on Reddit?
I talked to him earlier today. I've been able to meet a lot of amazing people on Reddit, and I'll mention their first names because I don't think they'll mind. But Michael, Brittany, my best friend Marty, she's almost 12 months or 9 months past her last shot. I mean, there's just so many. There are so many success stories out there, and some people. I think the way to keep it going is just to continue to pass it on, and share your experience and just provide hope for somebody else. But I've seen people that have been through this process and have been through deaths and didn't pick up, and Sublicade is a game changer for them because they've been able to get away from that cycle of daily dosing that they wanted.
Yeah.
But then again, if somebody wants to stay on, so I've seen people say, I'm cool with staying on Suboxone the rest of my life, and that's their decision. That's great.
Yeah. Yeah, it's everybody, like you said earlier, everyone's decision is going to be different. Everybody's road to recovery looks totally different.
Absolutely.
Just touching back on what he said here in the super chat, and thank you for that super chat of $4.99. I really appreciate it, my brother. I hope to have him on the channel here one of these days too, after he gets a little further down the road. But he asks you, Kevin, he says, can you explain the difference in how you feel now compared to being on buprenorphine? How much better is life? And then he said, thanks for everything, Kevin.
Well, how much better is life?
Yep.
I feel better when I wake up every morning. I have better clarity. I have more emotions. The people around me, I think, recognize a difference in my personality. I think more of my personality has come out. And, you know, I didn't really, it just it came back over time. And I have more interests. I have more hobbies now. That's a big one, you know. And I feel like I'm more involved in life. And I mean, one of the things I think about every day, and the people around you will tell you, I'm very passionate about this. I have a passion for Suboxone and Sublicade, and I'm typically on daily. If somebody sends me a message, I respond. It's given me the ability to want to help other people. And that's a feeling that's really powerful and is free. And what you get in return is tough to describe. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about because you're doing it as well. You know, you're getting the message of recovery out and helping people. And that's pretty powerful. That's a powerful feeling when you can do that and expect nothing in return and get a lot.
Yes. Yeah. I tell a lot of people on my channel that, you know, because there's not everybody can get on here and air their dirty laundry out for the world to see, but it's helped me so much over the years to know that I'm not alone, to have people, you know, in my comment section always like showing me support and kindness, and they understand. We all kind of understand each other in a way, and it's in a way it's kind of like we all know each other because we've had so many of the same experiences. You know, Suboxone has been literally probably the hardest challenge in my life. Not just Suboxone, but my opiate addiction in general. I mean, I've had to bury my dad and see him with a bullet hole in his head. I mean, I've gone through some traumatic relationships. I've been through a lot in my life, and I've got past all those things. But for whatever reason, I couldn't get past Suboxone. I mean, I've started businesses from the ground up and ran them solo. I've done some really, really hard things in my life, and I'm sure you have too. But for whatever reason, Suboxone has been such a hard challenge for me to get over. And I definitely feel in my heart of hearts that Sublicade is what's going to help me move on from Suboxone when the time comes. What's your thoughts on that? Can you relate to what I just said?
100%. It's what are we going to do in this community? You know, and I've challenged my doctor on this because of the lack of studies that have been done. And, you know, is it okay if I name drop a doctor that has I think his name is Dr. Kenneth Starr. He's got a few, you know, and I want to give him a lot of credit, and I want to give doctors like him and my doctor who have been supportive a lot of credit because, you know, Kenneth Starr, he posted a video a few months ago where he came on and he said, you know, he admitted that he was wrong initially, you know, and I just don't, you know, when I say I'm obsessive on this, you know, I've followed complaints with Indivior, which is a company that manufactures Sublocade, and it's not because I'm angry. I love Sublicade, but I feel like the public is a big secret is being kept from the public, and there are still doctors that are in the dark, and the same reps that are pushing Suboxone are pushing I mean, it's the same reps, and they're not getting the word out. And there's just way too many people posting that, no, my doctor doesn't do this. And I get it. Not every doctor is going to do it, but a patient should go to Sublocade.com, okay, and find a doctor. And Indivior knows that doctor locator system is broken, and they're not doing anything about it. I filed complaints with their safety department. I filed complaints with the FDA, and I have gotten absolutely nowhere. So when you want to talk about a little OCD on a topic, yeah, I'm all in on this. And some of the people think I'm a little bit too invested, but I just like what I'm getting. You know, I like to feel good, Kevin, and what I get out of sharing my experience with others and answering questions, it makes me feel good. And I've been able to have way more good days be free than I was on. It's just it's a 180. It really is. It's so empowering to not have to take that strip just to feel well every day, you know.
Yep.
But yeah.
That video you're talking about that Ken Starr posted, that actually was the video that made me call and schedule my first Sublocade dose. And Deb just posted a link to that video that you're talking about right here in the live chat. So if you guys haven't seen that video yet by Dr. Ken Starr, Deb just posted a link to that right here in the chat in the live stream. And it's a very convincing video, and he obviously knows his stuff, much like Kevin does here. So you've talked to him before, it sounds like?
No, I have not, but I give him.
Oh, you have not?
You know, it was like it's almost like I'm looking for some. I don't know. I don't want redemption, but I just feel like, you know, pharma. I'm sure you've seen Dope Sick on Hulu. Have you seen that? Okay, Purdue Pharma, Sackler. You know, I don't think this is nearly as egregious as that, because Suboxone really helps people. I mean, Oxycontin, that whole thing, it ruined people's lives. Suboxone has got way more benefits, but there's an alternative. I feel like they know. Have you seen any? I'm going to ask you a question. Have you seen anything published about how to, from Indivior or Suboxone, on how to properly taper off Suboxone?
I haven't. No, it's mostly just people on Reddit or on YouTube just giving their like ideas on how to taper off. I haven't seen any. In fact, it's weird because I think on the actual Suboxone paper itself, it says not to cut or modify, you know, but everybody has to do it, because if not, then the lowest you could get is 2 milligrams, and that's horrible to jump off at 2 milligrams.
I mean, it's just, and to think that, you know, there are some patients on 24, and I'm not judging, but to think that there are patients on 24 or 32 milligrams, and you see them post that they got their 300 milligram shot, they don't feel good. Well, I mean, do the math. I mean, it's not as simple. I mean, people think, okay, it's a 300 milligram shot, I'm going to get, you know, 10 milligrams dispersed a day. It's not that simple. You got to read the studies. But you know, I think we're finding out now that there's some people that are on 4 to 8 milligrams that are going 100, you know, having success. You know, some people are doing there's people I know that have done 300 milligram shot, and it was in their system for 8 or 9 months. Mm-hmm. All I know is they can't scientists at Indivior that forgot to calculate the half-life of Sublocade shots, because this was not intended as a taper medication, and they're not talking about it as a taper medication in the medical field yet. Okay. But my doctor, and I think that this is important to note because he knows how passionate I am. You know, I said to him when I was with him September 13th, I said, you know, when is Indivior going to do some studies, you know, on the taper? And he looked at me and he said, I don't need Indivior studies. He said, you were my first patient to taper off. He said, I've got a bunch that have tapered off. Some people continue to get them. He said, but we're transitioning a lot of patients from Suboxone to Sublicade to get them off buprenorphine, and we're seeing it with success. So I don't need Indivior to see, because I've got my own case of patients. So I think we need more doctors like my doctor and your doctor who's willing to split doses, stuff like that, because it's working. And I think at some point in time, we got to take a little bit of control of our recovery. You know what I mean? Of the medication. And I know that there's a lot of fear involved, and everybody wants to know what the withdrawals were like. And I almost feel embarrassed telling them that, listen, I didn't really experience withdrawal. A little uncomfortable, but several years on opiates, 13 and a half years hitting my receptors with buprenorphine. Is there, I mean, was as close to withdrawal free. It was withdrawal. I had a headache for a few days and then I went on blood pressure medication. That's my story and a lot of other people. But there are people that they get to the point where the emotions and the feelings start hitting them that, for me, I have a system in place to support me there. You know what I mean? And I do that. And for me, it's 12 steps. For it can be different. For some people, it's exercise. It can be different. There's no formula, but I think scientifically, there's enough data to show that a few shots are going to stay in your system for 9 to 15 months, and that's a pretty slow, gradual taper.
Yeah, that's an awesome slow. It's as steady as it gets. And the best thing I always say about it is Sublicade does the work for you. You're not fighting your brain all day that's trying to tell you need a little bit more Suboxone. And that's such a hard thing for a lot of people to fight every single day when you're trying to taper and you're feeling off and you're feeling depressed or anxious. It's so easy to reach into your little medicine cabinet, take a little more Suboxone, and then before you know it, your dose is going up and you're right back where you started. Sublicade does all the hard work for you.
Yeah, I think supplemental dosing is good. I saw somebody post today I thought was interesting, and I forget what form, who, they've gotten multiple shots and they keep on dosing, and their doctor said, hey, listen, if you're going to keep on dosing on Sublicade, we're just going to keep you on Suboxone. It's because you're jacking your system, with buprenorphine. But people, I didn't have to supplement, but if people have to supplement, do what you have to do. But, I think there's maybe a preconceived notion out there. There's some people that are getting 300 milligram shots every month, and the website does not promote that. But if that works for them, that's great. But people post that they've gotten, all these 300 milligram shots, and then they got their first 100 milligram shot on maybe month 10, and day 2, they're in withdrawal. I hate to say it, but scientifically, I think that might be just emotional anxiety, because I just don't think after you've had 8 or 9 800 milligram shots, if you get a 100 milligram shot, you have so much half-life build up. It's not going to, it's just, so, with Reddit, while it's wonderful, and Facebook, I think you do have to pay attention to, the people, if you want to get off, the people that are committed and have done it, and focus on the positive, focus on stories. Because there are a lot of stories, there are stories that, people will post on Sublicade, hey, can I get high on fentanyl? I'm on Sublicade now. Those aren't the forums I pay attention to. I pay attention to people that are talking about Sublocade taper, because that's where I think my experience can benefit them, or provide any hope, if any,
Yeah, I agree. I agree with all that. Just real quick to take a side note here, we had a couple more super chats roll in here. It looks like Marky Rizzo. Thanks for coming on the channel last week too, buddy. He sent a $4.99 super chat and says, egg whites, baby. Yeah, buddy. Thanks, Marky. Also, it looks like Deb Woods, you're my girl. She's always my #1 supporter in the show. She sent a $20 super chat. Deb, you're the best, and you support the channel the most out of everybody, Debs, and you're also always helping in the live chat, keeping away the trolls. She says, thank you, Kev and Kevin, for this awesome live stream. Thank you, Deb, very much for the support. I really appreciate that. I just wanted to say real quick, just a moment ago, Kevin, you were talking about like the half-lives and Sublicade and Suboxone. Guys, I actually have a pre-recorded video that's coming out this Friday telling people why it's kind of hard to explain. There's so much stuff like that comes into this as far as like the bioavailability. I don't know how much you know about that stuff, Kev, but I think the video, the title of the video is something like 1 milligram of Suboxone is not the same as 1 milligram of Sublicade. And that's because And that's because of the bioavailability. Like when somebody takes 16 milligrams of Suboxone orally, they're really only getting 4 milligrams into their bloodstream. Versus if you're taking Sublicade, you get every milligram that comes into your body because of how it's absorbed into your system. So I do have a detailed video coming up on this Friday, guys, at 3 o'clock Mountain Time. It's already set to be released, and things can get confusing because a lot of people think, oh, it should be just as easy as calculating 10 milligrams a day. So you divide the shot, 300 milligrams by 30 days. So you get 10 milligrams a day. And it's not that simple. And the video that I'm going to be releasing on Friday kind of breaks that down and dives deeper into that a little bit more. So just from what you've seen from everybody that you've seen on Reddit, kind of what I was thinking is maybe somebody, like ideally, if they're going to get on the 300 milligram Sublicade shot, wouldn't you want to be somewhere around maybe 8 to 16 milligrams of Suboxone? Wouldn't that be about the ideal place to start?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I've seen plenty of people. Most people, their doctors will do a little research if they, say, hey, be around 8. I've seen people with 16 get the 300 milligram shot, never need to supplement. Some people say they need to supplement, but yeah, 8 to 16. And then give it, listen, I told you I had euphoria the first 2 days and then I leveled out. But I think it's probably maybe 50-50. Some people, did you experience, any uneasiness after you took your last Suboxone dose?
So I actually did a live stream. It was the same day that I got my first Sublicade shot, and I had no idea what to expect. And I was on live with these people watching me, and everything was fine. And then out of nowhere, it was like this was the longest live stream I ever did. It was like 3 hours or something. For you guys that want to go back and watch it, it's like I just got my first Sublicade shot. Let's talk about it. I think that was the name. Deb will probably post a link to this. But anyways, what happened was at the 6 hour mark from my injection time, I had like a huge rush of buprenorphine hit me, and it scared the crap out of me, dude.
Okay.
I almost had a panic attack on live with my people like this. But I said a little prayer. I touched my cross, I said a prayer, and I just took some deep breaths. I walked to the fridge for a minute, and just after a couple of minutes, that feeling passed. But I thought it wasn't going to stop. I thought it was going to keep going, and it just felt like it felt like 24 milligrams hit me all at once without any.
Mine was, yeah.
Did you have that too?
But that's some of the euphoria that I was talking about. I don't think mine was as severe as that. So have you had any Suboxone since?
So during my first month, I had a stockpile. I've had a stockpile of Suboxone for 5 years. So as soon as I got my first shot of 150 milligrams, I went like 2 weeks or so, and then I got the curiosity thing. What would it feel like to take Suboxone? And then there was a day that I felt like yawning in the middle of the day, and I never get this. I started yawning. I'm like, yawning? That's freaking gotta be withdrawals. I was really tired and I started yawning, and then my curiosity started coming in. What would it feel like to try Suboxone while I'm on this? And of course, since I had a bunch of it, I did exactly that, right? And it did take away the yawns, but thinking back on it, and so just to recap quickly, for my first month, I took Suboxone about 3 times, and honestly, it's only because I had it. So I told myself, because I did that, I told myself as soon as I got my second shot, I should be steady from there. So I should not have any more weird things like that happen. I should not need any more Suboxone. So I did a video burning all my Suboxone. I just threw it all on the fire. I watched it burn. I made a video about it. And I feel like every single day that a person is on Sublicade and they do not take an oral Suboxone, that is one more day of their brain healing and repairing and telling itself that, hey, I don't need to put something in my mouth to feel normal. What's your thoughts on that? Is that kind of how you look at it too?
Yeah, I'm going to say 100% again. Let me ask you a question. Those 3 times that you took it, it was and I think this is important for the folks that are currently on Suboxone who are considering a transition. Those 3 times you took it, it was because it was around, not because you were in withdrawal.
Yes, exactly. Yes, it's because I had a huge pile of it.
You not because you were feeling restless legs or a panic attack or anxiety. It's because it was around. And I think, that's something to be aware of when you make this transition, that you're not going to feel, you may not feel 100% of the time. That's called life. That's life. It's not withdrawal.
Yep.
I have to tell you, I think that there's very, very little evidence that people that have gotten multiple shots and discontinued have, at least they haven't come on the forums and reported it, that all of a sudden they're waking up 6, 7, 8, 9, 12 months, all of a sudden just in full-blown Suboxone withdrawal or Suboxone withdrawal at all.
Yeah.
I think people are expecting to go through withdrawal. Everybody wants to know withdrawal just like you did. It's too good to be true.
Yep.
Now if you were just put on Suboxone a week ago, and you want to get to Sublicade, I may not be the guy to talk to about that because that was not my experience. And I don't know how much Suboxone is built. I don't know enough about that. And quite honestly, somebody that's transitioning from an opiate addiction to Suboxone should probably be on Suboxone. They may still need that daily dosing a few times. That's opinion based. That's that's strict opinion based. So I think short term Suboxone is good, but the transition to Sublicade is if you follow, I don't even want to say some simple rules because there is no rule book, but there's plenty of data out there to show that if you're on 2 to 4 milligrams, you can probably get away with a few 100-milligram shots, and if you're at 8, you could probably get away with a few shots and just ride out a gradual taper. It's really not more difficult than that. I don't think. If you're going to use opiates and be on I can't speak to that, because I want it to be done. But I can't, I can't say enough about Sublicade. It's a game changer. Not only does Suboxone save lives, but my finish to that is Sublicade saves us from Suboxone. And I don't say that in a negative way, but if you want to get off Suboxone, I really, in my heart, believe that Sublicade can help you do that.
And that's what you just said there, that saying about Suboxone. I've seen people say Suboxone saved my life. Sublicade saved me from Suboxone. I've seen a lot of people say that on Reddit. Have you heard that a lot too?
I don't want to take credit for that, but that's my tagline.
Oh, so you're the one that started that.
That's my ego coming out, I guess. But and some people have an issue with that statement. I have a very close friend, and she's like, Suboxone can cause a lot of problems. It just doesn't save lives, and she's right. But for me, Suboxone saved my life at the time. I really believe that if I didn't get it, heroin was next, and I don't do anything unless it's full speed ahead. So, but Sublicade saved me from Suboxone, and I don't say that in a negative way. But when it was time to get off Suboxone, Sublicade was 100% the way to go. And if you're considering it, you can. I can't say enough positive things about it. Does everybody have a great experience? No. Do people go on to forums and talk negative about it? Yeah, there's some out there, but there's a lot of positive stories out there. And I think if you follow some guidelines and, I also, and I want to say this too, because, when I was doing this, I abstained from alcohol, from other drugs, but I did have a relapse a few months ago on drugs other than opiates, and I was working a program and things were going good. I was in the middle of this. I was almost towards the end of my Sublicade taper, but I was in the wrong place at the wrong time, and I used for a day. So that still happened to me on this journey, on the Sublicade journey. So it's not like I'm free from addiction. I still have to work at this daily, and I do that by trying to help others and trying to get the word out.
I gotcha. Tell me, that's cool that you're the one that created that slogan on Reddit, because I have seen it used quite a bit of times. So that obviously tells me that you're heavily active on Reddit. So that's awesome. As I already knew that, but for the people watching, if you guys will probably see him if you go to Reddit. Let me ask your opinion on this, because I tell a lot of people that watch my videos, I say if I had to do it all over again, if I woke up tomorrow and I was back stuck on opiates in that toxic lifestyle, if I had to do it all over again, knowing what I know now after experiencing Suboxone, after experiencing Kratom, after experiencing Sublicade, what I would do is I would get on 8 to 16 milligrams of Suboxone a day, or lower if I could, depending on how much I needed. And I would build at least 6 to 12 months of clean time. And then I would go right over to Sublicade without even trying or without even worrying to taper. You wouldn't even need to at that point. And then take maybe 3, 4, 5, 6 Sublicade shots and move on with your life. If you had to do it all over again, how would you do it?
I think you described it perfectly, and I'm not just saying that because I'm on your YouTube stream, but I believe, I believe an addict probably needs something daily that they're dosing, and I think that Suboxone really helps that because it takes the cravings away. But I just I think if you want to get off Suboxone, I think it's important to recognize when you go on it what the side effects are. I did not pay attention to the side effects when I went on it because I was trying to stop an opiate addiction. If I could do it all over again, I would want to know what it was going to do to my testosterone. I had no idea it was going to. I mean, I was constipated on opiates, but the Suboxone constipation is at a whole nother level. At least for me, it was.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, 6 to 12 months, and then several, Sublicade. Yeah.
Do you think
this way you're protected? For 18 months, 2 years, possibly. With
mm-hmm.
buprenorphine. And in that amount of time, hopefully you put some healthy activities in your life for recovery. Because, I mean, for me, it was hanging out with people in recovery that were trying to, to turn their life around, and people that were clean and sober and wanted to be abstinent. That was my avenue, but that's not the only
mm-hmm.
avenue. People do it a lot of other ways that have done 300, 100 without 12 step. That's my story.
Okay.
But there's a lot of ways to do this, but I think you have to be prepared. In addition, if I could go back to tell people that, be prepared to, have to fill some time because you're going to have more interest. You're going to have a little bit more energy once the buprenorphine comes out of your system. You're going to feel different. You're going to want to do more things, and there should be healthy things that you're interested in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Some great points. What's your opinion on somebody going right from opiate addiction right to Sublicade? Do you think that is very doable, very realistic, or do you think Suboxone needs to be in play?
I know somebody needs to be on a minimum. They recommend a minimum of 8 milligrams for a week of Suboxone. I don't think anybody just goes straight from opiate. I mean, they do, but I think the website recommends. But who knows what's happening? I don't know, but I mean, I don't have enough experience to share on there because it wasn't my experience, and I haven't seen too many people share. And I read almost every post and every comment. I mean, I want to say it's like my second job, because that's how invested I am into this. It's important to me. I feel like it's, in some sense, it's a way for me to give back for what my addiction caused, because my addiction ruined a marriage. I lost time with 2 daughters growing up. I missed vacations. I missed holidays. I have an opportunity to redeem myself. And I want to take full advantage of this gift and share this present with everybody.
That's awesome. Yeah, very well said. I appreciate you coming on here and doing this with us. And I'm sure, there will be a lot of awesome feedback. There has already been a lot of awesome comments. So if you have the time to go back and rewatch this, check the comments. There's been a lot of awesome people saying some useful things in the comments. Let me ask you one more thing before I let you go, Kevin. All right, so tell me what your feelings are when I tell you this, right? And just taking out like all the what ifs. If somebody told you tomorrow that you had to get back on Suboxone for whatever reason, what are the first things that come to your mind? Are you mad? Are you sad? Disappointed? Like, what do you feel if somebody said tomorrow you're starting back on Suboxone, knowing what you know about how your experience was on Suboxone? What do you think about that?
Oh boy, that I would have to get on Suboxone if I had an opiate problem, right? I mean,
Yep.
That would be the only reason why I would get on Suboxone, and that would scare the living heck out of me. Although, if I was in opiate addiction right now, if somebody came in with opiate addiction, I would tell them, hey man, you need to try Suboxone. It's gonna stop this cycle right now. You're gonna be able to sort of get some stability, some normalcy in your life. But 13 and a half years, 4,928 days, that's a long time. And ultimately, I made that choice, but a lot of that choice was predicated on the fact that I couldn't get off. I had a really hard time getting off of it. But I'm sure there are a lot of people out there that have success stories about getting off. I just don't see them in the Suboxone forum. I think most of the Suboxone forums are people talking about changing doses. There's some information about people trying to get off. And I go on there and I encourage people, good luck. They're going from 0.5 to 0.25. They're worried. Good luck. I pull for those people. Listen, if there's one person on here that has watched this video that says, you know what, I'm going to talk to my doctor about Sublicade, that makes my day. Just one person that had that hopeless feeling like I did, like, man, I'm just never going to be off of this. If one person posts on this that says, hey, I'm going to talk to my doctor about Sublicade and make the transition and have a positive experience like both you and I, that's what this is about to me. It's not that I wouldn't want to go back on Suboxone if I had an opiate problem again. And listen, there's no guarantees in life. I don't want to think about going back on Suboxone because it was such a long journey, and I'm past that now, and I want to share that journey, and you've given me an opportunity to do that, and I am grateful for that, man. I really am.
Yeah, thank you. Sorry about that, guys. That happens every time we go past an hour and a half. Can you still hear me okay?
I can, yes.
All right. I knew that was going to happen. I was watching the timer. I was like, it's going to cut off any minute now. So at least now I know that it does it every time. So, yeah, I wanted to say thank you for coming on. And going back on what you just said just a minute ago, if you are that person that is watching this video and you've been on here for an hour and 34 minutes now, and you're on Suboxone and you do what he just said, and this video encourages you to talk to your doctor about Sublicade, then leave him a comment and let him know that, hey, you're now possibly interested in getting on Sublicade because of what he spoke about here today. That would probably cheer him up, knowing that he did have that one person, and I guarantee you there will be more than just one person doing what we're talking about here. So if that is you and you're watching this right now on the replay, leave him a comment and let him know. I'm sure he'll see, some of the comments. I'm sure he'll be able to come on and possibly, I don't know if you are on YouTube very often, but if somebody has some questions for you on the replay, maybe you can respond to them in the comments of the video after it reposts. If you're able to.
Here's the reality. I just I forgot how I came across Kicking Addiction. It was yesterday, but knowing my personality, I'm probably going to be watching all your videos. I just haven't had a chance yet, Kevin. That's just how I. Because like I told you earlier when we talked, I listened to you talk about the steady stream of Bupe about 2 or 3 minutes, and it was 10 o'clock last night. I was exhausted. I fell asleep, and then randomly you posted today that you were looking to talk to. It's funny how the world works, but I will definitely, you'll give me another avenue to just try and help people, because, this is not about patting me on the back, and I got, I deal with ego issues, I'm proud of myself about this, but I also remember the hopelessness that I felt, I remember that. I have pictures of me in tears, back in 2017 at 4:30 a.m. in the morning on day 3 of no sleep, because I was in an insomnia state and restless legs. If there's somebody that's feeling that way right now, you know what? You don't. There's another alternative. At least know that it's out there for you. And if your doctor won't give it to you, call around. Don't waste your time on Sublocade. Call local inpatient. My recommendation is call local inpatient or outpatient rehabs, and they should know who can administer Sublocade in their geographic area, because it's just we got to help each other here. We really do, and I think you're a testament to that. So God bless you.
Yeah, thank you very much. And exactly what he just said, guys. Like, if your doctors, like if you have an addiction doctor and they're kind of being hesitant about getting you on Sublicade, but you really want to try it, call around, like he said, and you can find somebody to give it to you. It's not hard for a doctor to just insert it into your stomach. It's not rocket science. Real quick, just a side note.
It does sting. It does sting. You said
yes.
You got it, right? I didn't get
it.
I got.
No, I didn't.
Oh, you didn't? I got a little bit of cushion on my belly, full transparency. You know what I mean? So they had to get that shot in there. But those 200-300 milligrams, I'm not trying to scare people, but if that's your worst fear, it's going to sting a little bit. It'll go away after a few minutes. But for me, it stung. And I got tattoos on my body, all that stuff. But that serum going in my belly, it stung. But it was, I had to do it 3 times. You know what?
Yeah,
and I'm free from Suboxone. And life is good.
Yes, it is. All right, man. Well, thank you very much for coming back on. I'd love to have you on sometime again in the future, possibly, if you're open to it. And I look forward to talking to you a little bit more, maybe off of YouTube and maybe on Reddit as well. So watch for me to reach out to you, okay?
Kevin, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. And I just want to thank, for anybody that's listening that has reached out to me through message or, on any of the forums. I want to say thank you, because you've helped me, I can assure you, more than I've helped you. That's been a big part of this, and I'm grateful. And I think things happen for a reason, and thank you for connecting with me today, Kevin.
Yes, thank you too. Okay, man. Well, I'll let you go. All you have to do is exit out of here and watch for the replay. It might take a day or two for YouTube to approve this. So if you guys are watching this right now and we end up closing the stream, you guys are wondering where the stream's at, it'll be up. It might take a day or two for YouTube to approve it. So that's all I really had to say. Thanks again for coming on, man. Enjoy the rest of your vacation.
Thanks, Kevin. Keep doing what you're doing. We'll be in touch.
Okay, buddy. I will. All right, man. Thanks. All right, guys. How was that? Did you guys enjoy that? That was awesome. I feel really good about that. Everything that we talked about was awesome. I think this might be one of my favorite streams so far. I'm going to note the time here, 1:39, 20. So I have probably another 15, 20 minutes to hang out with you guys. If you guys, yeah, Deb, I agree. That was awesome. I loved that. He's very passionate about this stuff, as you can tell. As I said, guys, I do still have a little bit of time now that we started the show earlier, so I can still hang out and chat with you guys even after we just went an hour and 40 minutes deep into stuff. Do you guys have any questions for me? Any comments? Feel free to shoot it off. I'll be able to chat with you guys for the next, 15 minutes or so. Let's chat. Make sure if you guys are watching this on the replay that you show him some love, because I asked a lot of people on Reddit to do what he just did, and almost nobody dared to come on here and show their face. It's not easy to get on here and do what he just did. I know that, especially where he doesn't even know me. Like, we just met, we talked for like 5-10 minutes before the stream. So he just barely found my channel like yesterday, last night or something. So he, it was just some of the stuff that he was saying. I was like, oh, this is going to be a good show. Drained Eyes, yeah. Drained Eyes said, fantastic stream. That was a treat. That was seriously awesome. And I know that's going to help a lot of people, encourage them to think about the option of Sublicade for sure. Marky Rizzo says, keep crushing, Kevin. Oh, we're crushing, baby. Deb says, there are no coincidences. Yeah, that's awesome. I like how you say that, Deb. And thanks for posting the links and stuff earlier. I noticed that you posted Reed's taper video, Deb, so thanks for doing that as well. And he's on his last day of vacation and he came on for us. Yeah, that tells you how much it means to him. Like, when I spoke to him earlier, you should have seen the view that I seen in the background. He was chilling right down there in the ocean. It looked like he was like, I don't know, some tropical island somewhere. It was beautiful scenery. So for him to take his time out of his day, I mean, he was obviously not even in a rush to get off of here. Like, props to him for doing that with us, guys. I'm so happy that I found him and that people recommended him, because he definitely was exactly what I was hoping to have. So, Drained Eye says, how excited are you to get off of buprenorphine, man? I'm pretty excited, man. Like I've said though before, like, I already kind of feel like I'm off in a way, just because I don't have the ups and the downs that I had of Suboxone. Like, in a way, I kind of don't really feel the medication. I just feel normal. So I'm more happy about getting as many days without putting something under my tongue as I can. And I think that's going to help me when it comes time. I forgot to ask him, if he was in my shoes, if he would do 1 more shot or 2 more shots. I forgot to ask him. So I'll have to reach out to him and ask him what his opinion is on that. I'm kind of thinking, guys, that instead of going in for my 3rd shot on the normal, like right at the month mark where my doctor tries to have me come in, I think what I'm going to do is just tell them I'm out of town or something, or maybe I'll just make up some sort of excuse, and then I'll wait maybe an extra month, like push out my last dose and then just have that be my last dose. So maybe I'll wait 2 months from my 2nd shot, if that makes sense. Hopefully I didn't confuse anybody. What's your opinion on that, Drained Eyes? Do you think I should do that? Or do you think I should just go in at my normal time, take the 3rd shot and be done? Or should I wait extra time in between my 3rd dose? I'm kind of thinking, I kind of think it would be nice to push that 3rd dose out a bit. That way I'm like already pre-programming my mind. Hey, I just went 2 months without anything. Like, and then I can get the 3rd shot and then just roll out from there. Probably something like that, I'm thinking. I noticed that there was a couple new people in here. Who was it? No Feedback 4754. Thanks for joining with us. You guys wake up a lot at night after getting on Sublicade? No, I sleep better now on Sublicade than I've slept ever. If you're obviously probably new to my channel, I just got off of a 13-year Ambien addiction since I got on Sublicade. That's how much better I'm sleeping on Sublicade than I was on Suboxone. And that's because I'm not going into withdrawal early in the morning from my low dose of Suboxone. Sublicade carries me all the way through the night. So I got off of that 13-year addiction with Ambien thanks to Sublicade. What other comments do we got here, guys? Rachel says, I've heard people going 6 weeks in between. Yeah, some people go 2 months too, I've heard as well. One guy even said he goes in every 3 months. That's pretty awesome. Let's see here. Drained Eye says his last dose was August 16th of this year. So he's pushing out, and I think he only got 2 shots if I recall. Oh yeah, he says he got 2 shots. He got a total, let's see, he got 300 was his first shot, and then 100 milligram shot 6 weeks after. Each one I felt the levels lowering. Yeah, if you're going from the 300 milligram shot right to the 100 milligram shot, you can probably tell that it's lowering through the month for sure. If you had to do it again, Drained Eyes, would you have just started off with 100 maybe, if you could? Let's see here. Feel free to throw in as many comments as you guys want right now. I see them popping up here. Hey, Robert, how are you? He said, great guest, Kes. Yeah, that was awesome. That's so weird. When I seen his name pop up, it said Kevin. I was like, what? Wait, your name's Kevin too? That was freaking awesome. Yeah, good to see you, man. Rachel says, drained. What dose of sub were you on before the shot? Yeah, that's a great question. He'll answer that for you in just a moment, Rach. See if I missed. It looks like I probably missed a lot of other comments earlier, guys. I'm sorry I keep repeating this, but remember, guys, this probably will not post right away. So if you don't see this stream on the replay, it might be Friday before you see it. That's why I tell everybody, try to make sure that you're subscribed. I talked to Callie the other day, Callie Love. She said she's subscribed and the bell is on there, and she still has not been getting notified of when I go live. So you guys are just going to have to remember the times that I'm on if you want to, because it sounds like YouTube isn't really letting everybody know when I am on live. What do you guys think of my videos as far as like my consistency? Have you guys noticed I've been working super hard at putting out consistent videos lately, and I just started getting on doing the short videos. So I've been really brainstorming, you guys, of thinking of different videos I can make for you guys. I'm sure it's probably hard to understand how challenging it can be to come up with so many different video ideas and to make the time to set things up and go over them. So I hope you guys all appreciate what I'm doing for you guys, and I hope that this becomes of value to some people that might be seeing me for the first time. Hope you guys can appreciate that. And I did want to say thank you guys that did. It looks like we had Rachel B, we had Mikey, we had Drained Eyes, Marky Rizzo, and Deb. You guys all came through with a super chat. I really appreciate you guys donating to the Egg White Fund. So Egg White Fund gang, woo woo. I really appreciate you guys coming through on the super chats. You guys are always in my comments. Everyone that I just mentioned right there, you guys are always supporting me in the comments, showing me love, and for you guys to do to support me that way as well, that just makes me extra happy for you guys to be contributing. Thank you guys for doing that. Let's see here. My man's been killing it with all the videos and shorts lately. Yeah, I've been working hard, man. And you guys don't know it yet, but I have literally a video, not long videos, but I do have at least a video or a short programmed for every day at the same time that this stream started, for every day for the next week. It's already all fully programmed. So there will be something on my channel every single day at 3 p.m. Mountain Time. And I plan on doing this. Hopefully in the future, I can keep coming up with different things to talk about and having different guests on like we did today. I really enjoyed having him on. That was awesome. Oh, Drained Eye says, what's your opinion on doctors who say half of all opiate addicts will need to stay on subs their whole life? I'll have to find what YouTube doctor said it, but it killed me when I saw that. You know, I believe that that's a tricky one, man. What do I think about that? Half of everybody. I believe that if somebody is sick and tired of being sick and tired, and only after they're sick and tired of being sick and tired, and they're participating in comments, videos like these, like people that want to stay on, they're not going to be on YouTube looking at videos like mine. They're going to be just goofing off in their life, and then their whole life's going to pass them by. They probably don't even think that they have a problem, right? So for everybody that's watching videos like mine and other videos like this, it's clear that you guys are searching for a better way to live your life. And if you weren't looking and serious and spending your time doing what we're doing right now, I believe that people that aren't involved in situations and comments like this, those are the people that probably, that's where his 50% of people, because there's so many people in the world that don't even look into stuff like this. How do I get off Suboxone? Like, I'm sure there's just tons and tons and tons of people out there that have no idea, like all of the side effects that they have from Suboxone. They don't know that there's a better way that they can actually get through their addiction. But I would say just taking a huge group of people who are addicts, that kind of would make sense. That maybe half of them might end up staying on Suboxone their whole life. But I believe that if people are committed to trying to, keep working towards their sobriety, I don't believe 50% of people who want to be off will be stuck on. I don't believe that. But I believe, just generally speaking, somebody that got addicted to opiates, it could be that 50% of people just keep going through their life. But if people want to put their mind to it, you know what I mean? Hopefully that makes sense. Hopefully I didn't confuse anybody with that. That's kind of how he's probably looking at it. But people who are looking for videos like this at ways of, and people hearing people's experiences on how they've gotten off, people like that, people like you guys that are watching this right now, it's not going to be 50% of us are stuck on this stuff. As long as you guys keep putting one foot in front of the other, you're going to make progress. Just don't give up. Don't walk away from trying to get off, and eventually you'll figure your way. And I believe Sublicade is going to be that way for a lot of people going forward. Marky Rizzo says, 8 years on YouTube has changed my life. So much information. Yeah, dude, I probably have the same amount of time watching people's videos and going through, and I've watched so many videos on YouTube, you guys. Side note, guys, it looks like we have 23 people in here right now, so don't forget to hit that like button for your boy. No Feedback says, getting my third and final shot on Wednesday, and they went 300, 300, and then they're going to get their last shot of 100. Congratulations to you. That's awesome. It sounds like we're kind of on the same timeline. That means that you're about a week ahead of me as far as when you first got on Sublicade. How are you feeling? No Feedback? Are you feeling good? I thought I said something like you felt over medicated. And just a side note, that people that aren't used to higher doses of Suboxone, if you go the standard doses of 300, 300, 100, then you might end up being over medicated for a period of time. Maybe your first week, first few days, something like that. Everybody's going to be different, as Kevin was talking about earlier. But even though, if you are going to feel over medicated, it's only for a few days usually. And then your body should adjust. People like you on YouTube are doing a great service with your platform. 8 years ago, there was literally only 1 or 2 people talking about Suboxone on YouTube. Dude, that's so true. And that's why everybody remembers Ryan. Ryan was like, I always say, he's like the OG of opiate addiction recovery. He was the only one I ever seen for many years on YouTube talking about this. And then Rockin' Roberta came on like 5-6 years ago, and she was she was the one that mainly started talking about Suboxone, and then Nicole started talking a lot about Suboxone as well, and then I came on shortly after those two. But yeah, it's been a long road, man. There's been a lot of stuff happen, and a lot of people, have come out and are finding videos like mine. It's awesome. Hi, Conspiracy. How are you? Good to see you. Oh, Zach's in here. I haven't seen him yet. Let's see. She says, awesome, Zach. Oh, there is Zach right there. Zach says, just want to let you guys know I skipped 2 doses. Then I took 1 and I skipped 2 more. Just testing it out. Sorry I missed the chat, but I've been listening. Dude, props to you, man. Sounds like you're making more progress. Zach's been really low on his Suboxone dose. Any updates from you, Deb, on your Suboxone dose? Hopefully you're still feeling all right. Let's see here. What other comments can I see? My doc says he recommends people stay on subs for 6 to 12 months before tapering, but no pressure. You can whatever you want, or you don't have to at all. Yeah, I'm obviously not a doctor, but I would agree, and I've said that before on my channel, Rachel. I think people need Suboxone to build some clean time. I've seen some younger people on YouTube talking about like they got on Suboxone for like a few days and they're just coming out of like a very strong injectable lifestyle. And I'm like, what are you doing, man? Quit trying to rush off of Suboxone after a week. You have so much healing that you need to do in your brain that it seems like when I hear people say that, I'm like, dude, this kid's gonna fail so hard. And I hate being negative, but that is so unrealistic to me. And it can be done though. Don't let me get you down if that's you right now. But it's just not very realistic. I would say 99% of people can't go from injecting street drugs to taking Suboxone for 2 or 3 days to just rolling on with life. That's not very realistic. As again, generally speaking, for the 99%, that's going to be a fail right there, and you're going to end up relapsing 50 times before you realize that you need Suboxone to help you build that time. If you can somehow cold turkey off of hardcore street drugs, then props to you. Definitely try that first if you can. The fastest way out, if you're in that lifestyle, it's so dangerous to be in that by injecting drugs. Like that is very risky. You're just 1 dose away from death or ending up in prison. Marky says, gotta run. Everybody take care. Good vibes. Yes. Marky, as you know, Callie was trying to reach out to you. She had some awesome questions about your iboga. So she should be emailing you. Callie, if you're seeing this, you should have an email from me relaying to you Marky's information. He's willing to chat with you about that. Yeah, thanks for the super chat, Marky. I appreciate that too, brother. Let's see here. Okay, guys, it looks like it's 5 o'clock. So this is usually kind of the time we get off. We've gone for 2 full hours. Let's see here. Drained Eyes says, it's all about your own timeline for sure. My dad was on pain pills for several years for cancer, and he was ready. So he used Suboxone as a bridge for a week or 2 and made it. See, it can be done. That's awesome. But like you said, you have to be fully ready and ready for a fight, because that's very challenging. So I think we've talked about this before. Your dad's a boss for doing that. That is very almost unheard of for somebody to be able to do it that quick. Props to your dad for doing that. That's awesome, man. Rachel's got to go too. See you later. Okay, guys, looks like we're gonna. We're still up to 24 people in here. Wow. Let's see here. But he was in a unique position to where he was physically dependent, but not using for a high. He also had already come off of methadone 10 years before. Wow, he had a journey. Whew. Drained Eyes, sorry I keep bugging you to try to get you on the channel. Obviously, I'll wait for you going forward. If you decide that you want, I'll quit bugging you about it, because I can kind of tell that you don't want to do it right now, and that's okay. But if you do want to do this sometime in the future, you don't have to get on here with the video. You can just do audio if you'd like, if you guys are not in a position you'd like to share your story, but you don't want to be on camera, you can always put a piece of tape over your camera if you're worried about it. So you guys know I love to have any of my regulars on whenever you want to share your story, especially if it is a story that you've gotten off successfully and moved on with your life. I really want to focus on the positive stories like that if possible. So if you are watching this now and you have successfully moved on from Suboxone, you successfully moved on from Sublicade, either or, and you'd like to be on here and share your story, feel free to leave me your email address and I will reach out to you and we'll get you on the channel soon. Callie Love, what up, girl? Did you just get on here, Callie? I haven't seen you all stream, but then again, I missed a lot of questions earlier. Callie, you should have an email from me. I gave you Marky's email address, and he is willing to talk to you about his iboga stuff. Hey, Michael, how are you? I love that picture you got there, Michael. I always see that picture, and I'm always like, dang, that look good. Let's see here. Let me see if there's any other final questions before we hop off. Anybody got to say anything really quick before we let this go? Callie, did you see the stream today? Have you been here the whole time? If not, you missed out on some good stuff. And you'll have to watch it on the replay. But I don't think you were on earlier, or else I would have seen your name pop up somewhere along the line. Let's see if there's any other comments I can touch on real quick. Oh, Drained Eyes just said, no, it's totally cool, man. I definitely want to come on video. Okay, cool. I just want to make sure I'm feeling normal or testing negative when I come back so I can 100% recommend it, honestly. Dude, I love that. Yeah, let's stick to that. Let's do that for sure. I'm going to guess that you'll probably be testing negative in what? Let's take a guess and see. I'm going to say maybe 6 months from now, depending on how fast your metabolism is. Let's see, he's on his third now, or he's on his third month, so he's in transition. Also want to get off the gabapentin. Yeah, try to get off that gabapentin before it comes time to fully drain out from the Sublicade, because you'll be that much further ahead if you do that. Callie says, replay crew. That's okay, Callie. I know you always check out the replay. And I shouted you out earlier too, Callie, for sending me a super chat on that last video. So thank you for doing that. Let's see here. Would also love to share my microdosing experience. Sorry, I don't think I can actually say that word. So I say microdosing experience. If you're down, yeah, definitely down. I actually have some other close friends that are trying to do that right now as well. And they're saying good things about it. Used it temporary, and I definitely think it helped with my overall addiction journey. There was a video I did not long ago. I think it was labeled Jenny's Story. And I don't know if you've seen that or not, but that was her question. So maybe you can go watch that video if you haven't seen it yet and provide her some words of wisdom or maybe something that has helped you with what you're doing with the microdosing. It was like a week or two ago. She had a phone consult with me, and she wanted to kind of hear like what my ideas were on it, what I thought of it. And since I didn't have any experience with that, I made a video so others could contribute some type of information to that, because there's not a lot of people that have used that for like Suboxone. She was just finishing up her Suboxone taper, so go check that out if you could. Let's see here. Dang, your boy's voice is roasted. This was kind of a long stream. Okay, guys, I guess we're going to go ahead and wrap it up here. I still have a pinned message from way earlier. Just remember, guys, I'm sorry for saying this once again, but this video will probably not post until Thursday or Friday. YouTube has to go through it first and approve it or not. Yuri says, I'm also happy to discuss IBO with anyone who's interested. Callie Love, hint, hint. Callie Love and Yuri, it sounds like you guys might need to chat because Callie Love is interested in finding out more information about iboga. So I've done I've done that hard medicine 3 times now. So maybe if you two can hook up with each other. Sorry, guys, I'm starting to get jumbled now. I've been talking for so long. Okay, guys, we're going to go ahead and wrap it up here. If you're watching this on the replay, guys, go ahead and hit that like button for your boy. Leave us some comments. Is there any other questions, anything that we missed in today's video? If so, myself or Kevin will be happy to reply and let you guys know. Things are going well, guys. I'm going to go hit the gym after this. It's time for some back and biceps. I'm still disappointed that only like 70 people watch my fitness video. If you haven't seen that video and you're into fitness, please go watch that video. I just put out a shoulder video workout this Monday, I believe. So it's only got 70 views, and I am so sad about that. As you guys can tell, I'm trying to bring fitness more into, because the health and fitness lifestyle can go a long way for your recovery. There's a reason that I'm bringing fitness into this addiction stuff. So Dwayne Dice says, awesome stream, man. Both did a great job. Going to try to catch as many streams as I can. Yeah, it'd be cool to see you around here more on the live streams. I know that you're always making very thoughtful comments, so I appreciate your long, thoughtful comments, man. And I know that your comments will also help people sharing your experience as well, even just that way. So, okay, guys, we're going to wrap it up. Thank you all for helping out today, and we'll see you guys on the next one. All right, have a good day, guys.